I'm Kristie Hauer, and in today's Digital Byte, we will be discussing privacy in public libraries. Privacy is the right of library patrons to control their personal information. This includes accessing information and using library resources without disclosing their personal details, reading habits, or research activities to others. We keep private whether patrons are using the library, how and why they are using it, and what resources they are using. Privacy and confidentiality are related but distinct concepts. Privacy focuses on patrons' rights, while confidentiality is the library's responsibility. The public library must protect users' privacy by not disclosing any personal information or details about their activities. Personally identifiable information is data that identifies and describes a particular person. Personally identifiable information falls into two categories: data about the user and data about the user's activities. Information about a user might include their name, address, email, date of birth, library barcode, or demographic details. Information about a user's activities could encompass their search and browse history, circulation history, computer or Wi-Fi session use, email and chat transcripts, or online resource access such as in Badgerlink or Libby, and also program attendance. In Wisconsin public libraries, a record is any document or information created, received, or maintained by the library during its operations. Many records, like meeting minutes or budgets, are open to the public. However, records containing personally identifiable information are private. These are the records that we'll be discussing today. Here are some common examples of records or private information we may find in public libraries: circulation records, reference interview notes, browsing history, overdue notices, computer signups or sign-ins when people are using the library computers, and courier or interlibrary loan slips that are generated by the library during that process. Privacy in public libraries is crucial for several reasons. It allows individuals to explore ideas and access information freely, supporting the fundamental right to seek knowledge and express oneself without fear of judgment or repercussions. Privacy also enables users to explore a wide range of topics, including sensitive or controversial ones, promoting a more inclusive and diverse use of library resources. Libraries collect personal data for membership and borrowing purposes, and keeping this information confidential protects users from identity theft, harassment, and other privacy breaches. When users know their privacy is protected, they are more likely to trust the library and feel safer using its resources, encouraging more people to actually utilize those services. By safeguarding privacy, public libraries uphold democratic principles, support lifelong learning, and foster an environment where all individuals can freely access information. Additionally, a lack of privacy can deter library users from exercising their First Amendment right to read, thereby impairing free access to ideas. We have strong support from the American Library Association regarding privacy. According to the Library Bill of Rights, everyone, regardless of origin, age, background, or views has the right to privacy and confidentiality in their library use. When users fear that their privacy or confidentiality is compromised, their freedom of inquiry is significantly diminished or even lost. The right to privacy includes the ability to explore topics without having one's interests scrutinized by others, whether in person or online. The library profession is committed to facilitating access to information without monitoring it. Therefore, libraries do not monitor, track, or profile an individual's library use beyond what is necessary for operational purposes. As librarians, we also have support from Wisconsin State Statute regarding privacy. This statute ensures that any records indicating the identity of library users and the materials they borrow are kept confidential. It protects individuals' privacy by restricting access to such records, allowing disclosure only under specific circumstances. These specific circumstances are as follows. If the library user provides written consent, their records can be shared with another specified individual. Library staff may access records as part of their job responsibilities. For interlibrary loan purposes, the records can also be shared with other libraries. Parents or legal guardians of minors under the age of 16 can request access to their child's records. Records can also be disclosed if a court orders it or if a subpoena is issued. Collection agencies or law enforcement may also access records for the purpose of recovering unreturned library materials. By adhering to these guidelines, libraries in Wisconsin can ensure they protect the privacy of their users while complying with legal requirements. We also have support from Wisconsin's Personal Information Practices Act. This act focuses on the management and protection of personal information by state agencies, which includes libraries. It mandates that state agencies collect personal information only when necessary and relevant to their operational functions. Agencies must also inform individuals about the purpose of collecting their personal information and share how it will be used. Individuals have the right to access their personal information held by state agencies and request corrections to it if needed. Agencies are required to implement security measures to protect personal information from unauthorized access or disclosure. Personal information can only be shared with other agencies or third parties under specific conditions and with proper safeguards. This act also shares that there are penalties for agencies or individuals who violate these statutes, including fines and disciplinary actions. By adhering to these guidelines, libraries can ensure the protection of personal information while complying with legal requirements. Now let's talk about a few specific situations. Parents or legal guardians are responsible for overseeing their child's use of the library. Unlike school librarians, public librarians do not act in loco parentis, meaning they do not assume the role of the parent. It is important for us to inform parents about the library's privacy and confidentiality policies when issuing library cards to children, ensuring they understand their role in guiding their child's library use. Remember, a parent or legal guardian can be provided their child's library record if the child is age 15 and under. A record should not be provided to a parent, a legal guardian, or anyone else if the minor is aged 16 or above. Privacy does not pertain to legal activities that occur in the library. These should be reported to the proper authorities if they occur. Only the account owner should receive information about their account, regardless of who may request it. When it comes to law enforcement, the library must comply with any court order or subpoena, but should not provide information without such legal documentation. It's important to avoid the temptation to be overly cooperative with law enforcement by not giving more information than what is explicitly requested in a warrant or subpoena, and never sharing information without proper legal authorization. Sometimes staff may be approached by law enforcement for their observations on specific situations. Staff can share what they have personally observed in the library as long as it does not involve accessing or using library records. Here's an example. If a police officer runs through the building asking, "Has someone in a red hoodie come this way? What direction did that person go?" you can respond to that inquiry if you happen to see something. However, that is a different question you're being asked than if an officer would ask a library staff member, "What is the name of the person on computer number 5 in the red hoodie?" This is information that you should not be providing unless the library is presented with a court order or subpoena. Here are some ways that libraries and library staff can ensure privacy for their patrons. Libraries and library staff can help ensure privacy by minimizing the collection, monitoring, disclosure, and distribution of personal information. Only the necessary information for library operations should be recorded and kept. If the library does not need a piece of information, it should not be collected at all. Users should be informed about the library's policies and practices for collecting, securing, and retaining that personal information. It's important to clearly explain the options that patrons can opt into, such as text notifications, while minimizing the need for patrons to opt out of services they don't want to take part in. Libraries should provide guidance to users on how to protect their digital privacy off-site, such as creating strong passwords. Implementing anonymized holds is a common practice in libraries that helps code patrons' materials on the hold shelf in a way that prevents them from being recognized by other users. Proper storage and disposal of information is necessary. Be sure to shred any papers once they're no longer relevant. Similarly, wipe electronics. Create private spaces where you are able throughout your library. This could include positioning computer screens differently, increasing mobile devices that can be checked out, having headphones available, or positioning seating areas where a book cover, when held open, would face a wall and not other people. Staff should never discuss one library's behavior or library use with another user. Be vague with details that might expose someone without their consent. Review library procedures to ensure they address privacy in various situations. For example, when calling patrons, develop procedures that require a user to verify their personal information before you share information with that patron. Sometimes unintentional exposure can occur in libraries, and here are some very common situations. Have more awareness around them. Here are some additional resources. I hope you've enjoyed this recording and learned more about privacy in public libraries.